Hello, people with good taste. Welcome to another guest episode. This episode's gonna contain spoilers for both Higurashi and Umineko, and also Ciconia, because theories sometimes encompass concepts from the other stories, so that's your spoiler warning. I am your sentence to Des, and I am here with...
I guess with me. Hi, Sayome.
I'm Yensid.
I guess my first time on a guest episode.
That is true, damn. And today's guest is...
It's me. I'm ZAK. Hi.
It's ZAK from the ZAK Magnus channel, which, in case you don't know, somehow, I guess everybody who has read Ciconia has heard about you one way or another, but
Yeah.
ZAK essentially does Ciconia theories. I would say ZAK is pretty much spearheading the Ciconia game right now. I don't see anybody making Ciconia content as much as ZAK does.
True.
If you're interested in this, you don't have a lot of options. That's true.
That's kind of sad, but true. I mean, I'm glad we have you. Your theories are great.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell our audience what your channel is about in case anybody does not know about you?
Sure. And yeah, I do hope that if people are interested in Ciconia lore, that they know about my stuff, because honestly, even if they don't like it, they should check it out. But anyway, yeah, I make videos about basically Ciconia theories, as I call them. I just go into what is the content of the story, and then I try to deduce kind of what's going on and explain, what's going on behind the scenes, what are characters' motivations, what do I think might happen in the future, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's the Rosatress channel of this generation of When They Cry.
It's a pretty good comparison, except for the video length, I guess.
Yeah.
I noticed that you, have a similar editing style as really old YouTube videos like Rosatress, which I just think is cute.
Huh? You think so?
I mean, kinda. I just like how it always ends the same way with the never stop thinking. It's cute.
Well, sometimes it ends with, oh, if you never gamble, you'll never win. That's for the crazier ones. But yeah, usually it's yeah, always keep thinking, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, how did you get into the When They Cry series?
It's a fascinating tale for sure. At some point, a friend recommended to me this anime.
Oh.
It was Higurashi. So I watched that. This was a while ago, but I found it was pretty interesting. I think I liked the concept a lot. I think I found the execution was hit or miss. They did some interesting things, but also I wasn't always into it. I think in particular, I don't really like the kind of school setting. Those are the characters are children and they're not inherently that interesting. And I don't really like the games, the punishment games or whatever. I was like, this isn't really interesting content. But I did really like, again, the concept and some of the things it did. So, fortunately for me, shortly after that, I heard about this other thing called Umineko, which is exactly what I wanted. It was the same concept, right? But rebooted, completely different setting and everything. Almost no annoying children in the new version.
No.
Right?
Almost no annoying children. I like the implication that means that you think Maria is annoying.
Maya's not annoying.
We are Maria defenders.
I didn't realize that was an opinion. I thought it was just
what?
A fact that she's that's basically all right. Anyway,
Okay.
and this was, again, this is all in the context of anime.
Oh, God.
So right as I heard about it, what I heard about is there's this Umineko anime that's gonna come out. So I watched it as it was coming out.
Oh, this was before everyone knew it was terrible.
Oh.
Well, it's hard to know before it exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I watched it, and as I recall, I liked it. It was, it's very interesting. And at the time, I don't know if the visual novel was even finished.
I think it was episode 6 at the end of that or something when the anime came out, but I don't think Umineko was finished by then.
Yeah. So somehow I learned about the original work, because, the anime doesn't even tell the whole story. I mean, it couldn't at the time, I guess, but it never did. And obviously, you want to find out, hey, what the hell's going on? What happened? Where does the story go, right? So eventually the entire visual novel came out and The Witch Hunt translated it. So at some point I got that and actually read Umineko in the original, well, not in Japanese, but anyway, it was very good, very interesting, also very long, but that's really when I got into it and how I got here.
Did you end up going back to read the question arcs, or did you jump from the anime to the answer
No,
arcs?
I read I read all of Umineko.
Okay,
Damn.
good.
Yeah.
Mushroom had a similar pipeline, but then she just jumped straight into answer arcs and only read the question arcs later.
Damn, that's weird.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Okay, so from all the three works, which one is your favorite? Like Higurashi, Umineko, and Ciconia?
It's Umineko, obviously. Come on.
Yo.
Yeah, I was wondering because obviously your channel is about Ciconia because Ciconia is still coming out. But you can also still make theories about Umineko. So why did you choose to go with Ciconia and not Umineko, for example?
That's a good question. So there's a confluence of a few factors, but the shortest answer is basically what you said, that it's still coming out in theory. So
Hypothetically coming out.
I mean, citation needed, right? So
True.
again, I don't really remember what I was looking into or how I found out, but I somehow found out that there existed all this discussion about Umineko as it was coming out, which I never participated in, right? Because I only read it after it was all done, it was all out, and presumably after kind of everything is kind of revealed, there's not as much to discuss. So I guess I felt like I missed out. It seemed, because obviously it's a story that's meant for discussion, for theorizing and speculation, and really digging into it, which I think is really interesting. But since it was already out by the time I got there, I couldn't really participate in that. So, one day I see, hey, there's a new When They Cry. What the hell? Like, I only found out, it was on the front page of Steam. Like, that's how I found out about it.
Really?
Yo.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Imagine my surprise. But this was like an opportunity. I can, here's a story in progress. So I can try to get into it and find people who are interested in discussing it and see how that actually goes in practice.
Well, I guess that's something we don't actually know about each other on the podcast. Like, how did you guys figure out Ciconia was a thing? We've never discussed this.
I actually don't remember.
Really?
I guess I just it projected into my mind. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I really found out about it besides just being I'm going to read Umineko and or Higurashi. I guess there is a third thing now.
Yeah, same.
I remember, the friend who got me into When They Cry, they were browsing 4chan and there were wikis for Ciconia.
4chan?
Yes, there were wikis for Ciconia that said,
Really?
yes, and they said the new main character is not gonna be too masculine or too feminine, and they are gonna be half mechanized.
What?
And that's fucking meow. That's just meow.
Okay, true. What the hell?
And then it was revealed.
How was this even leaked? Because
What the fuck?
I don't think Ryukishi has that big of a staff.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
He leaked it himself.
Yeah, he posted it on 4chan, trying to build hype.
That was the only thing you could think of to build hype. Androgynous mech protagonist.
That's a decent hook.
True.
Okay, then getting back to you now, how do you go from getting an idea? First of all, how do you get an idea for a theory? And then how do you go about translating that into a video? What kind of research do you do?
Translating, get it?
Thank you, Simon. Very cool.
Well, the process of thinking about things and then making them into videos is those are two basically unconnected things. I mean, I started out, I just wanted to think about the story and basically find the best discussion on it and try to participate in that. So I was just thinking about it a lot, and I actually don't really have much of a better description of my thought process other than I just put a lot of time into it. I guess I have documents and stuff where I write some things out to just help organize my thoughts. But basically that's the thought process. And then sometimes I decide maybe I can make a video, and then I just, think of, hey, do I have any ideas that I think are worth sharing? Is anything, coalesced and reasonable? And if it is, then I can produce it. But I don't think of it oh, I should make a video. Let me go think about a topic and come up with a conclusion. And then because I wanted to make a video, I came up with it and then wrote it down and made it. That's not really it. I have thoughts, and then sometimes they turn into a video somehow.
Okay. I think you had a bit of a break, and then recently you started putting out a lot of videos in succession, right? Or did I get
Yeah.
Okay.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like this is just my own perception, so I could be wrong, but okay. I'm glad I'm right. So my question is since that's how you usually go about doing things, is that like you just had a sudden burst of creativity in recent times?
Yeah, it's kind of weird what happened because I certainly had a lot more thoughts. So I first made like 5 videos, and then yeah, I didn't make any for a while, and I think I felt like I had some thoughts, but they weren't really like, I don't know, they didn't quite cohere, or I didn't think I had like enough or something solid enough to really put into a video. But I mean, I was thinking about it that whole time, and at some point I got I don't know, kind of sick of thinking about it, and I decided to try. Well, I'll just like start writing like a script or two for a video, and just let that kind of guide me. And when I tried doing that, it turned out I actually had a lot to say. So I wrote out like just a ton of video scripts, and then I started making them. There's actually like I still have some laying around. Like I still have a couple scripts where I just haven't even made them into videos yet.
Week them into fortune.
True.
Great. That's kind of the thing is I feel like this can't be hyped anymore. Where is the hype for Ciconia? Does anyone care?
I care.
I do. It doesn't help you, Kishi, put it on the hiatus, but like I feel like
Yeah, exactly.
before there was way more like interest, but now it's just like Ciconia is just like that.
I think it's just a combination of it having such a fucking uncertain hiatus with the fact that it already had like the Atlas spoiler block, making no one really like able to do just a full Let's Play.
All right.
Do you think that the fact that Ciconia is on hiatus for an undetermined amount of time, does that mean like eventually you're gonna just stop altogether doing theories? Do you think there's any future for Ciconia theorizing?
Well, I hope there is. It would be nice to at least have a full, like a full theory, as I would put it. So that basically means
An all-encompassing theory.
like everything, at least have an answer for every question you might reasonably have, which I don't right now. Like I've put a lot of thoughts out there, and I have some more that are like in scripts or not even in like scripts yet. But even taking all that into account, there's still stuff where I don't know, they're open questions. And actually, I mean, I think that's stuff that would be interesting to discuss with people if anyone's like thought about it enough. I think it would be interesting to form a complete theory at least, and I'm not there, so that's something I could do. I actually haven't really like thought that hard about Ciconia in a while because, like I said, it turned out I kind of banked up a bunch of thoughts without even realizing it. So I guess what I said earlier is kind of not true because I said like, well, the thoughts and the video making, they're like not connected, but I guess they are because I feel like why do I need to think about it anymore? I can like if I want to make a video, I can go do that. Like I have scripts. Like I don't need to like think anymore to like produce something. And I guess that that does kind of discourage me from like thinking more. But I could, and I guess I'd like to at some point.
If there's anybody that could eventually make an all-encompassing theory, I think you're one of the most likely people to do it. Because honestly, your theories are just the kind of shit where I'm like, we're not gonna solve this until we get like another phase at least. Then you release a video and you're just like, here's like a lot of evidence of who the moles in each of the factions could most likely are. And I'm just like, what the fuck? This was all in the text. How did I not see this?
Yeah.
It's just like all of your theories are so in such an order of magnitude that it just honestly kind of disencourages me for even theorizing because you're eventually gonna solve it before I do.
Well, thank you.
I get that.
That's really not the intended effect, but thanks also. By the way, though, for people out there who like Ciconia theories and stuff, there is one other place you can go, and it sounds like maybe you haven't heard about it, but there is this one quite long video out there. That came out. It wasn't that long ago. It's like fairly recent.
Was it the Rika profile picture guy?
Yes.
Oh no.
That person.
Oh no.
Wait, what's the video called?
I mean, I think if you search Ciconia on YouTube, like I think it's just the top.
The Prophecy of Ciconia, yeah, it's the nameless person. Okay.
It's the funny lolicon guy.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anyway, I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you want, it's similar to what I said about my own stuff. It's like, look, even if you don't like agree with me, well, what choice do you have? You don't have a lot. So if people are into that, I think they should definitely go check it out. Like, I think like the reasoning in the video is kind of weird and not always very convincing, but you know, it's something. Like, I'm glad someone's out there trying hard at least. It's similar to the to like the Rosatris thing. It's like, look, I really respect the hustle on this, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
I'd like to ask, like, do you, like, think of your theories in isolation, or do you see other people's theories and go, that's good, I'm gonna steal that and incorporate it into my theories?
Let's just ask if he's stealing things.
Or, no, I mean, like, do you build your theories, like, in isolation of other people's knowledge, just only going off the text?
No. I think I don't even have a concept of stealing. Like, I don't think stealing would be like sensibly defined in this. You know, we're all a community.
Yeah.
We're all talking about stuff. But that said, I mean, I wish there were something to steal. You know, like there's not that much out there. That's part of why I make stuff, is because, like I said, you know, I went looking for the discussion, and honestly, I didn't find much out there. So I decided, well, you know, I'm gonna try to, you know, make some stuff, put it out there for the people that might want it, of which I don't know if there's many, but you know, there's somebody for people like me.
There's some. I mean, your numbers and our numbers are, subscriber-wise at least, are kind of similar. But I think you could have videos with like a K views, right? So the audience is there.
Yep. And there's also, I feel like the kind of thing that I like, both to create and also to consume, it's not that common, I think. And it's sort of it's like very in-depth and detail-oriented, and kind of trying to provide the kind of connective tissue between the content. Whereas I think even if you look at like analysis of, not necessarily Ciconia, like any kind of media, like even if it's you know, like an in-depth like look at it, analysis of it, it has kind of a different approach than what I like best. It usually kind of more builds on top of it.
Wait, what do you mean? I'm not sure.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, can you, like, give any, like, examples of channels or creators who do what you're talking about?
Certainly. I mean, I've been very inspired. And I definitely didn't explain it that well yet, but stay tuned. Okay. So, but yeah, let me tell you about my inspirations a little bit, actually.
All right.
So, I think one of the first ones was this channel called Hawkshaw, which looks at Dark Souls and tries to explain the lore and like what's going on there. When I first found that, I thought it was very interesting. I really liked the like amount of detail, and it looked at some, like, it looked in places that I would have never thought, and just the thought process itself was very interesting to me. So I really liked that. And more recently, I found this channel by this guy called Preston Jacobs, and he looks at the Song of Ice and Fire books. And this was very interesting to me because, like, I'd read those books, but only once, and it wasn't that recent. Like, I really don't remember them that well. So I'm watching his videos, and I don't actually like know what he's talking about most of the time. Like, I don't remember this stuff. I don't know this level of detail. But I'm really into it. Like, I'm watching, he's made a ton of videos, and I'm watching them all. And like, I'm just riveted by like the level of detail on the inside, even though I don't even like understand what he's talking about. Like, I don't directly relate to it. So it was very interesting, very inspiring. The other thing about Preston Jacobs in particular is that his videos are like really badly put together. So that was inspiring too. I'm like, well, okay, I can do that. I can do this.
I have Movie Maker.
Yeah.
Your videos are good though, like well edited.
Yeah, that's what I told him too.
So yeah, those are like on my I put those on my channel as like galaxy brains is what I call them. So yeah, my inspirations are right there. All right, so let me try to explain what I mean, because I thought about this a little, and I thought of an analogy to try to explain this, of what kind of analysis that I like versus what I think is more common. And I'm not trying to say that what I like is better in any way. I'm just trying to like explain the distinction. You know, people like what they like, and I have no kind of like judgment about that. But So let's say you have some kind of story, and you think of the actual contents of the story as stars in the night sky. So like you look up at night and you see the stars. Okay, so that's the story there.
Okay.
So what I like to do is I like to ask, okay, so like what star clusters are these stars in, and like how far away are they? What kind of stars are they? Is there anything orbiting them? Maybe like how are the stars gonna evolve? Like how are they gonna die, and how is that gonna look, and where do they come from? So you can kind of infer these various things that you can't necessarily observe directly, but you can infer from the information. Like what can you learn by looking at this? So that's kind of the analogy to what I think is interesting. And I think what is more common is you look up at the stars and then you make constellations. So you say, okay, well, like from where I'm looking at it, like these stars here, they're all kind of close to each other and they make this shape. And then you look next to it and there's this shape next to it. So, can I draw meaning from the fact that like these things are next to each other? And you can make different shapes if you want. And each star doesn't necessarily fit into a shape or fit that well into a shape. You can just ignore some of them and it's still fine.
Okay.
And there's a different way of looking at things. And I think that's like a more common thing to do. But I prefer the first one. I think that's more interesting, but also it happens to be rarer to find. So like, I don't know if that helps, but that's an analogy I came up with to try to explain kind of the distinction.
So you're like analyzing stories like every individual bit by bit?
Yeah, if possible. So like I said, I think it's like the connective tissue. It's like that's the contents, and then what's sort of between it to sort of tie it together and show like where it came from or what's kind of the unsaid thing that you can still figure out, as opposed to kind of building on top of it, which is more common. Like you kind of take what you see as is, and then you sort of, it's almost like a more creative process, the more common thing of like, okay, that's that, and then how do I kind of build that into something else? So I might be like muddying the analogy here. I don't know if I'm making it clear or less clear.
I think the analogy, first of all, it's a very interesting analogy to like put stars in theories. I think it's a very peculiar way to describe it. I think I understood what you meant in regards to the most common way to do it. I'm not sure I understood what you meant about the way you go about doing it, but I think like if I keep the analogy in mind, as I come across different kinds of videos, I'm gonna start to understand it.
True, yeah. See if this framework works for you.
I feel like I understand the vibes you're going for, but I don't understand what specifically you're trying to say.
Could you give maybe if you give us a concrete example with one of the theories you have made? I don't know if you can just like take that out of your pocket out of nowhere, but like.
Okay, sure. So one of the videos I made is about, I think it's called like energy politics.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about, honestly, it's my introduction to throwing Leto under the bus, which is like, I think an important thing that needs to factor into some kind of theory. And in that I said, okay, like here's the information presented, like there's these factions and they have this walls of peace concept. And then, gauntlet knights exist and there's Drysa conversion and blah, blah, blah. Okay, yes, we've all read that. And I said, well, if you think about it, there's no walls of peace. The Leto doesn't like follow that. So you can kind of infer from the text that like this concept that everyone says they like is totally violated by the thing no one dares to challenge. That's kind of interesting. And I look at kind of the like the history of Gauntlet Knights, which isn't very long so far. And I say, well, this is like a really hard thing. Why are people so invested in it before it even did anything? Like it only allegedly was useful, during the course of the story. So does that imply something about the history that we're not being told? And then from there, I do some speculation about like, maybe Leto has like secret technologies that, and then like they're kind of manipulating things and it's kind of working in their favor. But now this new shift that we're seeing in the story is going to like upset the balance. And then you can see how there's this like hidden story that is sort of implied by what you've already read. Yeah, and it gives you a different way to look at things. So okay, that's an example that comes to mind for you.
Okay, does that clarify things for you, Yensid?
A bit.
Okay, yeah, I think this is the kind of thing, like, most likely than not, we also go about doing things in the most common way, so it's kind of hard for us to understand the other way of going about it. But as I said, if we keep this in the back of our minds, we're probably eventually gonna get it as we come across different situations.
Yeah. So, okay, here's a way to put it. I think most people would not even, like they wouldn't necessarily care about the answer to a question like, why did everyone start doing, like around the world, why did P3 training start? Like everywhere, like it seemed like people were really into it. Like they put a lot of investment into it, and it was like everywhere and all at once. Like why did that happen? And like it says in the story that happened, but I think most people, they would be like, yeah, that happened, whatever, and I don't really care. Like it's not a question that they really care about the answer to. It doesn't sound interesting. But when I look at that, I'm like, okay, you gotta, like this means something. You gotta like build something around this, you know?
But doesn't it explain that it's like the concept of Kennedy's powder, the thing Kennedy thing. So like if one faction started doing that, every other faction would start as well, right? Because of the balance in power. Or am I missing something?
It depends on what you think that everyone thinks about Gauntlet Knights, right? Because they're not a proven like useful thing.
Yeah.
Right. But despite that, the P3 training really, they go all in on it before Gauntlet Knights even exist. Like they can't, like first you need the training, then you get the Gauntlet Knights, right? So like there's not really evidence, at least that we're told, that Gauntlet Knights are going to be, a valuable, powerful thing.
Yeah.
And yet the investment happens. So like that's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, that is weird.
In the video, I'm like, yeah, that was it's not about Gauntlet Knights. It's about, energy. Ooh.
So the difference with what you like is instead of finding just a surface level understanding, you question like everything until you feel like you're fully understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Another way to kind of get at this is, I think this is Dub said this in that guest video where it's like this is the Doylean approach, where it's like, okay, the author thought about it a lot. They put, the details they put in are based on thoughts they had that they didn't necessarily write into the work, but you can kind of infer them. And so by looking at the details, there's a lot you can find out. Like you have to trust the author, and you have to kind of assume that the details are not just arbitrary, that there's some meaning behind them, which you don't necessarily want to do for every like creator of a work. That might lead you to weird places, but some creators you feel like you can trust.
Yeah, especially after Umineko, which was all about
exactly what I was gonna say.
All about the relationship between creator and reader.
Yeah.
I guess I'd like to ask about your theories. Are there any theories that you made where just one person in the comments was like, nice argument, unfortunately, and then they mentioned one single thing that disproves the entire theory?
Oh my god, that happened to me once. That happened to me with the fucking alternative answer for that fucking, what was it, first Twilight of the third episode, I believe. I was so mad. But yeah, Zach, has that ever happened to you?
Not that I recall. Sometimes people give some kind of like actually weigh in and say like, well, I think this makes sense or it doesn't make sense, and here's why. I don't actually remember anything like too compelling. Maybe I conveniently forgot it. By the way, I really like that first Twilight video actually. The up-3 first Twilight. That was a real good one. That was a banger.
Well, thank you. Well, yeah, how has your experience on YouTube been? Everything from releasing your thoughts to how it is received by your public. How has it been?
My public. It's pretty much good. I mean, the little interaction that I get, people are very positive. So that's nice. I like that. There's some oddballs with what I think of as weird ideas relating to the story or just the world. It's internet comment sections. There's always some weird stuff that crops up, but for the most part, it's just like people being, hey, nice, cool.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And have you ever published the theory and then you ended up wanting to change one detail, or you thought, I could have done this a different way, but now the video's published. Damn.
That's a great question. A little, sort of, not majorly. See, this part of the thing is because I don't have a complete theory, I'm not fully constrained, Like if I had, because it's possible that some of the ideas that I already have are making it impossible to answer certain other questions, and I just don't realize it yet, It's like if I have to have the answer for everything, I might realize, this other thing I was thinking, I gotta get rid of that. That's making it, not all add up.
I think it's useful for theorizing communities to have some people theorizing who have no exposure to the rest of the rest of the community's interpretation, because sometimes, like, one interpretation of one thing just kind of clouds everything else.
Yeah.
And you need, like, a fresh perspective to see something that everyone else just ignored with their one existing perception.
That's true. I don't know if the size of the, community here, I don't know if it's big enough to like have that effect though, but maybe it is. I don't know.
I think it is. I think it works. Like that bias of like being too tunnel visioned into an idea. I mean, obviously I don't have data for this, but like just from thinking about it, I think the effect may be more easy to see on a small community because if you have a small community, everybody knows all the ideas the others have been theorizing about, so it's easier to get lost, getting tunnel visioned into an idea.
Okay, yeah, that's true. All right, let me tell you about actually some things that I might want to adjust that I have made.
Okay.
Little bit. I have this zombie apocalypse thing.
Yeah.
Where I'm talking about how there's this like immortality Amos that's described, and I'm like, well, this is basically a zombie thing, and here's like who made it and why and what might happen in the future. So I think after that came out, they did the phase 2 preview sample. And that adjusted, that was like, actually gave a lot more like details to how Amos seems to work, which I didn't really know before. So like on its own, Amos doesn't really spread apparently, like based on the sample. It's really like the release of it is very localized, and then it only lasts for like a year or something. You have to keep releasing it, which probably wouldn't work if make the zombie thing and society probably pretty much collapses. Like how does it spread? Like why is it released everywhere? And then why would it persist? So it probably would have to act more like an organism. Like you would have to self-replicate and like persist and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a relatively small detail. Also. In there, I said, I think probably the AOU made it in the, Giroi level 4, whatever, heavy military.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called. But like I said in later videos, the claim that's made in the story, at least, is that you can't really make Amos on your own.
Yeah.
You need like IPMA.
A lot of resources.
Yeah. So something IPMA. So maybe it wasn't just AOU. Maybe like the AOU knows about it, or like at least the like top secret portion of this research center knows about it, but like they're not the only ones. Like maybe super secret, like IPMA knows about it or something like that. Like that seems more likely. So like small adjustment there. It just fits really well though because Giroi used to be a center for regenerative medicine. Like it just fits really well for them to have made this like zombie thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, like small adjustments like that.
Yeah. I mean, if you go by, like, adding to what you're saying, if you go by I forget the name, but like the two ways of trying to figure something out, one is through canon war and the other is through authorial intent. If you go through authorial intent, seeing as Ryukishi delayed phase 2 because of current world events, and current world events were COVID, which also encompasses conspiracy theories that the whole government created COVID. Maybe that is true, and it was an institution that created the 8MS, or that created the malicious 8MS. That's what kept Ryukishi from releasing it.
I like how Ciconia is such like good grounds for theories that the author creating a hiatus is evidence for theories.
I mean, it always is. Outside factors always weight in Ryukishi stories. Like, you have the famous story of how EP3 was changed to help people know what to think about and what to disregard in Umineko.
But this time, I think supposedly he thought he planned it all out ahead of time. So now he's in a different problem where like he can't really change course necessarily, even if he wants to.
Yeah.
But I do wonder about the delay because I've heard various interpretations of what Ryukishi said about why is it delayed. But like everyone's trying to like put their opinion in, whereas I just want to know like what has he said and I can try to interpret for myself. But I can't like find the direct source. I've actually gotten my mitts on like the video, the like 07th party or whatever, where he talks about this stuff, but I don't speak Japanese, so like it doesn't do me that much good. But yeah, like it would be good to know like directly what did he actually say about like why is it delayed? Because I've heard various interpretations, and I'm like, okay, but what's what are the ground truths here?
Yeah.
I've made a video where like there's a lot of implied stuff that I don't think anyone's really like looked closely enough at the video to notice. But there's some stuff, especially about this, like, why is it delayed? Maybe. And that video is it's the arable virus video. Yeah, how about that? So one big thing in the story where it's kind of a question mark for me, it's like really important for me, I feel, to have an answer to this, but again, no one else seems to really care, is there's 2 truces in the story, right? And my question is, how did Leto put together those truces? Like, how did they make everyone agree to them? Especially the second one. That seems to me like an important like thing to have at least a theory for. Anyway, so in the video, I speculated. So in the earlier video, no, this is the same one, where I said basically I'm pretty sure IPMA is involved in the whole like arable virus incident, and they also made the countermeasure, and like I dropped in there like, well, what if the countermeasure has like unannounced features? Because everybody's like, oh shit, our crops are being infected. We really got to quickly like do something about it. And then Leto's like, here's the thing, you can use this. It'll help you. And everyone's like, yes, please, quickly. And then they do it. And now they have this like, this Amos that's deployed all over the world. No one's really looking closely at it. And so like my theory is like, oh, maybe this is like they use this to like force the second truce by like strong arming everyone. Like maybe they're making all the other Amos fail now that they have this thing all over the world. Anyway, point is, if that's the story that Ryukishi wanted to tell, like you can't really tell that story now, right? Because like even if you don't want to, right, it comes off as like, oh, vaccines do like crazy things to you, and that's why there was all, it's like,
yeah. Like,
so imagine if that's what he wanted, man, he's so screwed, right?
Yeah. Like that has to be the reason why. Like, why else would he just stop releasing a story that he has thought about for so much time? I mean, like, I think it's the Manga Gamer page for Ciconia has a note from Ryukishi there that says that he wrote this story because he couldn't write it at any other time. So it's just like Ryukishi wouldn't drop a story that he has strong feelings towards if it wasn't like something major like this. Like, this is pretty major. Okay, this is editing desk. I went to check the Manga Gamer page, and no, that is not where the note is. Then I tried to find the note, but I couldn't, because for some reason, finding information on Ciconia is like the hardest shit imaginable. So, I don't know where the note is. If you've read the note I'm talking about, please tell me where you did, because I actually don't remember what it was. It was like a note with just a couple paragraphs where Ryukishi talks about how the team is now older than they were when they made Higurashi. When they made Higurashi and Umineko, they like have kids now, and that's kind of I think that was the reason why he said this is a story that could only have been made now. So yeah, that's it. Slight information correction.
To be honest, I don't really know about that because like I think from what I've heard that like in phase 2 there was supposed to be like a pandemic, and that's why the Ryukishi didn't release it.
That was my headcanon.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, I think, because like I think Anon watched like the live stream of that like seventh party or something, and I think that's what he said to me, but I don't remember 100%.
We could probably get Mushroom to give us a more direct translation on
maybe.
what the seventh party said. I think it might just be a Japanese culture thing, because Japan's like, oh, someone got murdered, we can't show this dark episode of a TV show for another week.
That happened with Higurashi, right?
Did it?
I thought so.
I think so.
Really?
I know it happened with Pokemon multiple times.
What? How?
Wait, there was like this episode where Tentacruel invades the city, and there's like
right
an earthquake, and then an earthquake happened, and they were like, okay, let's not show this.
Oh fuck, a high schooler got murdered, we can't show the last episode of School Days.
Okay.
We got a boat.
Yeah, and said, come on.
Okay.
Well, where were we?
I guess I want to talk a bit about the like Amos theory, but like I just want to add my own 2 cents, because like I don't think that like they like send out some Amos so that like the world would like go to shit and stuff, because like in my opinion the Amos just got like it just started having like maybe not an actual intelligence, but like it started just like because it knows that like the zombie virus and stuff got released, so like the humans can like live in worse conditions, so it just like turns some stuff of itself off because like it's not needed anymore.
Yeah, wait, did you not bring that up on our Ciconia episode? Because I remember this idea, but I remember this idea, I just don't know where from.
I mean, I did talk about it in the chat earlier, I think, like in the Ciconia theory.
Yeah, but that's an interesting idea. Like, it was created to do this thing, then it was no longer needed, so it turned itself off.
And if you're familiar with Haworthia,
Yeah.
which is, that's kind of what happens there. The nanobots, become an intelligence and like do something kind of weird, but it makes sense from their perspective.
Oh, yeah, you were also saying something in regards to the 8MS. Okay, no, before I get into this, the way you don't say 8MS, you say AMS, but sometimes that sounds like anus. It just sounds like you're saying anus all over and over again. But what I was gonna say is, you were talking about the 8MS and the way you started thinking about it after the little teaser for Phase 2 came out, how it was like, it would have to be like, to sustain itself and reproduce so that it could spread. And then it just awfully started sounding a lot like the parasite in Higurashi, which is just yet another tie to Higurashi. And I honestly don't know where I'm going with this. I just thought I'd say that because that's an idea that I got from what you were saying.
That's interesting.
Do you have any other theories, Jaime? Do you want to get into the big thing you allegedly found out?
It's just like a bigger theory of just like some general thoughts. It doesn't really solve much. It's just a really interesting thought, I think.
What do you mean it doesn't solve much? You literally said you solved who Veer was.
No, I just like who she's based on. Like, I have an idea.
Well, we already know it's Satoko.
Wow.
So tell us.
Let me just start with the big whole theory, because I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast yet, but
Okay.
I think me and Des discovered it like a while ago. It was like, we know that Furude Isaac died right before getting her Nobel Prize, right?
Yes.
In the first scene of the underground lab, like, whenever that one guy who just goes down there and like, there's a list of names of people he sees, and like, they're all Nobel Prize winners. Like, if you look them up, they're actual Nobel Prize winners.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was just like really interesting, because like, I had a thought that about like, what if the underground lab is like a symbolization for like the things that Nobel Prize winners like have discovered, and like it's like symbolic, and like the people that are there are just like symbolically representing their own like inventions or like the things they have discovered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I've never actually thought about like searching for the name Mario before, which is kind of dumb because I should have.
Yeah.
And-
What the fuck? Okay, what did you find?
Okay, basically there's like 2 Mario Nobel Prize winners.
It's both of them.
One of them was, yeah, like both of them are kind of important, honestly. Like they're both interesting.
Okay.
The first one is Mario Capecci, and he made something like called knockout mice. Yeah, basically he used some things like he could deactivate specific genes in mice, like so you can see what the genes do.
Huh.
And then like it also helped and it helps with aging or diseases or stuff. Like
Oh, okay.
can make them live longer or like have less fur or whatever. Like you can basically just turn off certain genes and it makes them like different things. Then there's a second one who is like more interesting to me, which is Mario Molina, who basically found out that like a certain type of gas which were used in refrigerants, aerosol sprays, and the making of plastic foams was bad for the ozone layer.
Huh.
It makes sense because like the thing that Mario's machine does is basically like it turns off the environmental AMOS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean, it does a lot of things. We don't really know what Mario's machine does, but like it turns off like the earthquake AMS or destroys it a lot, and like it also is not very good for the environment. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Because basically then Mario found out that the gases are bad for the ozone layer.
The whole underground web is very weird. It is supposed to be doing translation, but like Dreisig says, understanding these things which are supposed to be like very complex, like understanding these things is really easy. The hard part is translating it. So it makes you think the problem is with whoever these things are being translated to. They are so inferior they don't understand it. It kind of sounds like it's like the web is an interface. Because it understands the information, but it has to put it in a way that we can perceive it.
I think it'd be really interesting if like translating was actually making things that are simple just way harder.
Yeah.
So like we see things in the underground lab that are like really high tech and stuff, but it's like really easy like technology that anyone could understand nowadays. I think that'd be really interesting.
I agree. So what about Dreisig? What does she represent?
I told you about like the Dreisig being born in Austria theory, right? Like that was like on the last
yes.
thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Basically, her name was like spelled like only how it was in Austria and stuff, and that was weird. So basically, there's this one Nobel Prize winner called Gertie Cori who was born in Austria, or like Austria-Hungary. Like it was a different place back then, but it was in Austria. And basically, she just found the discovery for a mechanism in which glycogen, which is like a derivative of glucose, which is sugar, is broken down in muscle tissue, and then we synthesize in the body and store it as a source of energy. So it's basically the Dreisig conversion.
My theory!
Yeah.
Yes! Thank you, Sayome. My theory has been strengthened.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what theory I'm talking about, Zach?
I think so.
The one about how gauntlets are just like artificially helping you do neoglucogenesis?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my god, thank you, Sayome. You're so cool.
I just don't get the whole Nobel Prize connections like in the first place. Just like why? I guess it just makes sense because those are like the smartest people, so that like they would be able to translate. It's just like okay.
But then what happens with the translations, right? You know, let's say they succeed. You know, sometimes they probably do, right? They like, okay, we managed to put it in terms that are easier to understand or whatever. Okay, then what? Do they somehow give it to the outside world? Do we ever see that happening? I don't know. Like the only thing we see it doing to the outside world is like the earthquake machine, right? And that's not exactly like on the face of it, that doesn't seem like it's making anything clear to anyone. Right. So
I think maybe we have seen it before. Like, do you remember that scene where Sashat goes to like that one guy who wants to give wisdom to the humans, like to the normal people? Maybe that could be like that because like wisdom has to be fully translated first in order for the humans to like have it. But that one guy maybe wanted to do it, like give it to them earlier than intended, which like Sashat was against. So.
That's true. That makes sense. Because that's yeah, like we see something almost happening where like something kind of enters the human realm. And also, Seshat says something like, you know, only insane people call this wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is what they call it in the lab, right? So it sort of makes it seem like maybe this gray guy who's trying to hand the thing over is somehow aligned with the lab thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the weirdest, like the Mario and that scene, the gift, where Seshat actually does something. Yeah, those are like the weirdest, like hardest to understand things.
I actually didn't notice before, but that actually implies that Sishat has been to the underground lab before, which is pretty weird.
Yeah, she briefly shows up in one of the ending scenes. Like she's got her gauntlet out and everything, and she's like talking to someone who's trying to.
Wait, was that in the underground lab?
Yeah.
Like what? Damn.
That's like the hardest to interpret. I agree. Like I've said in the video that like I don't think the lab is literal. Yeah, but I also don't think that Seshat is literal. So then you have Seshat in the lab, which is like a complete, like you can't, you have to interpret it like crazy to get anything out of it.
Wait, do you think that none of Seshat is literal?
Yeah, I think she's basically a witch. By the way, this would be in a video I haven't made yet. But yeah, like if you read her character description, it's like, yeah, she has these like powers that have no explanation, and also she can erase all evidence, even in ways that don't make sense. So it's basically saying like, yeah, she can do anything, but not while you're looking. You know? Yeah, she's an amazing witch, and she has infinite powers, and that's what happens in the story, right? Like she goes around, she does some stuff, and then all the evidence of it goes away, right? Nobody remembers. There's no video, right? Like they say they undo it, but like
yes, oh my god, that is so much like a witch. Cause
how did I not notice that?
Oh my god, that is exactly how magic works in Umineko. It's you see this thing, yet there's no evidence. Why? Because it never happened in the first place. Or it happened differently. Damn.
How many people does she even interact with? Like, is it
very few?
Like just Tojiro and a couple others?
She was like at that one meeting, but then everyone forgets about her.
Damn.
It's very weird.
Would she just actually be Tojiro's cat? Because like I feel like Ryukishi would pull that.
I don't know.
Wait.
I already did that with Burn.
Could that mean that Seshat is the thing that was inside the thousand years fridge down the web.
The fridge.
No, but like it is said that something was supposed to have come out of it already.
Satan.
Yet it seems.
Oh.
I don't think that's said.
Is it not? Okay.
Yeah, it's not. No, it's like something has been imprisoned there. Like it's not like something has been imprisoned there. It's just like it's like a 1,000-year time capsule.
And it hasn't been used yet. At least
Yeah,
when Veer is first explaining it to the chop head guy, she says, "Oh, it's not used yet."
Also, I don't think Sasha would have come out of the time machine thing because, in the Book of Apocalypse, there's supposed to be Satan in there, and I don't think that Sasha is a representation of Satan.
How is she?
I think it's more like Mia with someone else.
That stylish sense is hellish.
She's like wow. She's like an Egyptian goddess. I don't think she would have much to do with that Christianity thing.
I mean, she seems to object to it pretty heavily, actually, right? Because she looks at Revelation and she's like, "Oh no, I hope this isn't real,"
Yeah.
which is pretty interesting, right? Because the story of Revelation is the good guys win.
I mean,
In theory, right? Kind of.
it's technically, 3 million people, or 1/3 of humanity dies, but sure.
Yeah.
I guess I had another thought. It's more really general. It's just something interesting.
Okay.
Basically, I thought about in Higurashi, the meta world that we see is basically just hell. I think
What?
because we just see it when Rika dies, right? And sometimes, and then Umineko, the meta world, is purgatory. That's very explicit, right? Because in the first Tea Party, we see Purgatorio and stuff.
Yeah, and Butler in a way is kind of atoning for his sin of never coming back.
Yeah, and the 19 people killing thing is kind of okay. Also, then I thought that what if the meta world in Ciconia is heaven, because Ciconia has a lot of heaven motives already. So
Could be. That does sound like a very thematically cohesive thing to do.
And when you say the meta world in Ciconia, do you think it's ever shown in Phase 1?
I think the Jaden thing, at the very end, maybe. I don't know if that's a meta world or if that's it's so hard to tell what that is, honestly. It's maybe that's at the end of the looping of the simulation or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I personally agree with all that. Because in my thinking, yeah, that's basically heaven. That's where Jaden is inviting me out to, is the virtual heaven. But for some reason he rejects it.
I guess because of the gaslighting, because of the prophecies.
I honestly think the place Jaden is at the end would be more aligned with the Golden Wand, because I think the meta world is more aligned with the digital world. And even with your heaven theme, I think the digital world would be a good fit for a heaven analogy, because you can be anything there, you can spend as much time as you want there, and it doesn't even affect your IRL things if you're born in that generation. It's pretty much heaven. You can just be anyone there. You can multiply your time there by doing multiple things at the same time even. And then the thing with Jaden at the end would be the Golden Wand, because that's the thing they're trying to attain. That's the plane they are trying to reach.
So are you saying that those are two separate things? There's the Golden Land and then there's virtual world, and they're two separate things?
Wait, do you mean in Umineko or in Ciconia?
In Ciconia.
Yes, because if the thing that Jaden is in at the end, that's the thing they are trying to reach. So it can't be the digital world, because otherwise they would already be there. If it is the digital world, then it is a purely digital world there, where there's just nothing physical in it. Or if there is, it's just the brains that are transmitting the information to this digital world. But whoever exists there only exists there. They don't have a body in physical world like they do during the whole story, during the whole of Phase 1 essentially. Because otherwise, why would someone be trying to make this world a reality if it already exists, right? Has to be at least different.
Do we actually know if Phase 1 is simulated or not?
It's not confirmed.
I think it has to be, doesn't it?
It's not confirmed.
It has to be simulation, right? There's so much weird things happening. There's no data fragments at the end,
It would be a really bold move and really interesting to not make it a simulation. I think we discussed this on the first Data Archive, because I was pretty heavy in my simulation theory, and Jensen was but that's the most predictable outcome. That's the most predictable way the story could go. So it can't be that simple. It can't be just a simulation story.
I don't think it has to not be a simulation. I just think there has to be, like, a lot more to it than being solely a simulation.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah.
Like Zach's theories about it being, like, simulations to judge people using, like, a reconstruction of what has happened, like, would be a really interesting way to have it be a simulation.
Also fits really well with, like, the Bible allegories and stuff. Like, the people lived with Jesus for, like, I think, was it 100 years or 1,000 years? I don't remember.
1,000.
Oh, yeah, 1,000 because of the time capsule.
While Satan's napping.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Meow is Satan, and that's all I say about that.
No need to explain, just...
In the very first scene we see him, he's on top of the, like, Super Tokyo Tower, and it's 666 meters high. Like, goddamn. How more than those can you get?
Yeah, but he jumps off, though. What does it mean?
He jumps into the time capsule. Ciconia solved.
I did have some kind of idea about... I don't know if I'd call him Satan, but like I think of it as Warlord Meow in like a different timeline, but it's very, there's a lot of like speculation that I have to do to even explain the theory. So I don't know if you want me to go into it.
I mean, if you want
I'd love to.
Go for it.
Yeah, I love your theories.
I mean, there's reasons this has never been in a video, but so a little bit more like thematically, if you take the idea that, you know, if it's a simulation, it's all trying to figure out how people acted so you can sort them into heaven or hell based on their actions, right? So what if the very first time in like the real timeline, somebody did some kind of sin, right? Like something that would send them to hell, I guess, in theory. And it was like really important. Like it actually ended up, you know, causing a destruction of the world or something. But then when they're doing the simulations, this person gets, you know, they get the, you know, blue person hints telling them, oh, you know, don't be an asshole. Like, you know, sinning is bad, all right? And they really feel bad and they don't want to do that again. But the problem is it violates the outcomes because like their action, like their sin had a big impact on the world. So they're like trapped in this thing where they don't want to do the sin, but they still need to like the destruction of the world to happen as it did the first time, or else like the simulation is not valid. So they're in this like shitty situation. So I'm thinking, what could the sin be? And this weird line kind of jumped out at me for some reason. It's in one of the data fragments. And it's, I think it's the one where they're just talking about childbirth, basically. And I think Meow says something like, oh, if you abandon your children, you will surely face the wrath of God, or something like that. Like for some reason, it stood out to me. And I'm like, what if that's the sin? So the theory is, first time around, Tojiro is like a deadbeat dad, okay? And Meow he's still Meow, so he becomes this like super soldier, but instead of having the personality that we know, he's this like nihilist who doesn't like connect to anyone. He's never like been shown any love, and so he ends up, I don't know, like destroying the world or something, just cuz, you know, this is the Warlord Meow concept. But you know, Tojiro tells his like simulated self like, hey man, you gotta you know, be a good father. And he kind of overcorrects in the other direction now because he's like super overbearing in the story we actually see. So now we have a super soldier who maybe won't destroy the world, but maybe will. I don't know.
So then he wouldn't want to destroy it, but he would have to because it has to end with the same outcome, or else the simulation wouldn't be valid.
Yeah, something like that maybe.
Okay.
So you can see how there's like a lot of weird assumptions right at the start before any of that comes together. So
I think the idea of like two like diametrically opposed Tojiros like makes a lot of sense with how like weird his characterization is as a father from what we see in the story.
What do you mean weird? Can you explain a bit?
I guess it's just very unclear like what Tojiro or how close Tojiro even like really considers himself to Meow, if he really cares about him or if he is just a game piece to him. So like if he's just trying to be better but the simulation wants him to do things, that'd make a lot more sense.
Yeah, that's true, because he shows a lot of affection for Meow, like not to his face, right?
Yeah.
Like his usual thing is like he's annoying Seshat by talking about like, oh Meow, he's so cute, I remember, blah blah blah. And she's like, all right, can we get back to like scheming? So you know, for whose benefit is that, right? Like he's not trying to convince Meow of anything or like So it feels, if kind of like, I don't know, that makes it seem genuine, but at the same time, he's all like, oh, my game piece, you know, you're gonna be doing some things whether you like it or not. So yeah, I agree. It's like, man, Tojiro, what's his deal?
Actually, did you make a theory about like what you think is like fully going on with Tojiro, of like what his motivations are?
A little, sort of.
Are you still like a bit unclear on like why he is the way he is?
I mean, the one thing that I kind of theorized is that he has to pick between Gestrus and Veer. That's an idea. Is like they used to be one person that he was married to, and now it's like, well, who was he actually married to? That was an idea. I also I vaguely have the thought that maybe Tojiro needs Meow to figure something out, something like that. Which, I mean, it goes right to the never stop thinking line, where even though Tojiro has all this like information and stuff and access, there's things that like he doesn't know or he can't figure out, and he needs Meow to do it for him somehow. And like maybe that's what it comes down to, is despite everything, Meow has to like outthink Tojiro. Again, these are more like, you know, thematic things. See, this is the kind of thing I don't really put in videos that much.
I think it's interesting to hear, like, a guest episode.
Yeah, because it even helps other people maybe get ideas for theories. Like, even if you don't have, like, ideas for an actual theory, I think just an episode of, like, random thoughts you may have that you're not sure how they could fit into anything would be an interesting video.
Yeah, I've thought about that a little. I have like a 0th draft of bullet points for a thing that's kind of like that. It's not explaining. It's more like questions and like fragments of thought, and it's called I think it's called Mario Was Framed. So that kind of tells you the direction of so yeah, I mean, maybe I do think that might be interesting.
Well, we were talking about simulation theories, and I had this thought. It's kind of weird how like the most generally accepted theory for Ciconia is that it has to be something related to simulations, but then you have Blue Meow or Evil Meow or however you want to call it, which he basically all his interactions, all that we see about him in the story is about a prophecy, which is something that will happen. But the concept of a simulation, like you make simulations to try to get a different result, right? So like, doesn't that contradict what Blue Meow says? It's kind of weird how it's such a popular theory.
Well, I mean, I have an explanation for it, but this is in videos. This is like the central thing, is that it's like the outcome is known. How they got there is what they're trying to, you know, simulate.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, to your point, I doubt most people, you know, think that, or like just, you know, come to that idea on their own. So it is kind of worth asking, well, you know, if they don't have that idea, why are they so willing to believe that, yes, it's a simulation, but why is the, you know, kind of simulation-y character always talking about prophecy? That is weird. But, you know, I'm guessing they just don't like think about it that hard. Like see, they don't notice like those two details and see that they kind of seem to be in opposition. Right? Because you have to think like about it a little bit to even notice that, right?
They just think funny Gunhild is the imposter when they read the ending.
Well, Gunhild is pretty suspicious, to be fair. She's just suspicious in like the 3rd scene of the VN, when people call her an old granny. So,
hey, you want to hear something really whack?
Yes.
In that very same scene, so Meow and Jaden just got done like, you know, play wrestling, even though they have like this important match coming up to represent their whole faction, right? Mm-hmm. And so, you know, they're eating some candy to recharge. And Meow asks Gunhild, oh, this chocolate's good. Where's it from? And she completely ignores him, and she just talks about something else. She does not answer him at all.
What?
So, anyway, point is, here's the theory. She's drugging him. She's drugging him to mess with his performance. I mean, I think the BSF, the Battle Standard Festival, it's definitely super manipulated. Like, the story just says that. It's like, yeah, it's a sporting event. Obviously, like, there's all kinds of cheating going on. But the question is, like, does it matter? How important is it? I suspect it's probably fairly important.
Damn.
Yeah, but also it makes sense because she's against natural born geniuses, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
That's crazy.
Damn. Wait, that even goes in tune with like, I don't know if this is related, but that kind of fits with when Meow is eating with Tojiro, and then they are talking about his match against Lingji, and Miao is like pretty bold in saying that they were pretty much in the same level of skill, but Tojiro tells him, no, Miao, you're stronger. Which is like, how would he know that if that's the only time Miao has fought with Lingji? So like, could it be that Tojiro knows Gunhild would have drugged Miao like to nerf him?
Yeah. So he gives Miao all this like data, which Miao normally does to other people, and maybe that's the point. Is like he's saying, look, if you analyze this, you can see that like clearly your performance, like something's not right if you actually think about it. But he probably never thought about it, right? He's just like, Dad's being an asshole. I'll just ignore him like usual.
Yeah. Well, I was framing it as in like Tojiro and Gunhild being on the same side, but I guess it also works in like Tojiro being suspicious of Gunhild.
I guess it could also make sense because like Tojiro just knows that like Miao is like the most powerful like gauntlet knight, right? Like everyone does, right? Like it's like a common established fact, I think.
Yes.
Like he has the highest P3 level. So like I think sometimes in the character profile it said that like someone actually outperformed him like a few times or something. I don't remember who it was, but I think Miao has the most stable and highest ones.
Yeah, it's because Miao is like supposedly the best, but the technology just hasn't caught up with him yet. I'm pretty sure that's what it says.
Get him one of those golden gauntlets then. Damn.
True, like Lingji in the finale, which still bothers me to this day.
Wait, okay, what if the drugs do in the first battle is so like something happened on the second battle. So like what if the drugs that Gunhild would have given Miao on the first fight are to numb the triggers so he doesn't get triggered as he does in the end?
Interesting. I guess there's also just like one thing about the ending that still very much bothers me that I want to just mention or like talk about. Because there's the whole like flashing like black screen with the white words, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you don't like believe in the human heart, how can you call yourself a guardian of the worlds of peace? But it makes no sense because Miao throughout the whole game has been like, humanity sucks so much. I wish humanity would just die. I guess they deserve war and stuff. But like in the very end, he's suddenly like this. It's just very weird to me. Like
I agree. That's very like it stands out as a thing that as a thing that needs explaining. I would say though, he's not like that the whole story. He's only like that for like a brief but important period.
Isn't he like that towards the end as well?
Yes.
Like
Yeah, towards the end. Yeah, definitely. I have videos about all of this. So like I think the reason he kind of falls into that is partly because of how the IPMA explosion is sort of like presented to him. I guess I kind of smeared that idea across a bunch of videos, so it's kind of hard to coalesce it. But like basically like the way the information is presented to him is to make him feel like, well, you know, I have no hope and I'm not. It's about like his belief in himself. Like he only believes in people because he believes in himself, and then they use the explosion incident to destroy that. So he kind of loses faith. So that's in a video. And then like Karapoyo jumps in and fucks it up too, to just make him like hate everything even more. But he changes his mind suddenly, and I definitely think that's like important. He changes his mind, right? And I think the reason for that, I guess, pretty speculative. But basically, there's the email inviting somebody to join on 9th Prime. Right? And I think that's sent to Miao, which is not a fact, but I think that's what's happening in the story. And I think that activates a trigger, which is supposed to make him agree, like effectively make him remember things that were bad, so that he basically agrees like, yeah, the world sucks. I should just, be a 9th Prime. But it got like jumbled up, probably because of Eraser Meow, like kind of like interfered with his memory, so they're not like in the right order or whatever. And so instead he just remembers random things, right? But just, thinking back to random things, actually it has like a positive emotional resonance instead of a negative one, like it was intended. Because he just thinks like, oh, these times I had with my friends, hooray, I like things now. And so it has like the opposite effect. It like restores his faith in humanity.
He gets the happy patch.
Yeah. But, he still ends up covered in Lingji's blood, so...
Also, just one thing I've never actually, like, understood. Like Mitake, or like Miao's father takes control of his gauntlet, right? So why does Lingji's gauntlet shield, like, run out?
That's a great question.
Like, I just don't get it.
Well, what the gauntlet does, like, okay, they've been in this fight for a long time, and like if we go along with my theory that what gauntlets do is absorb carbon from the air when you are out of juice, basically. What if what the gauntlets does is absorb all the carbon in close vicinity, so that since they have been in this fight for a long time, Wing-Ji is already tired, and now that there's no carbon in the air, her gauntlet can't absorb more carbon, so it just goes into like battery saving mode and disables the shield.
But why in that specific moment?
Because of the happy patch, or does that happen after?
No, that's before. I guess the big mystery is, why is Ling-Ji surprised by it, right? Because she's acting as if like everybody expects her shield to still be up. Like there's not, Meow can't really know for a fact what her energy levels are, but she should know herself, right? And like she's acting as if her shield's going to persist, but it just suddenly doesn't. So like the big mystery is, how did she get surprised? And, maybe there's like, Tojiro activates, hidden secret, spiritium sucking mode that just like takes all the energy out of the air right next to maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
a good question.
That's what I'm saying. She would have expected it to keep going, because she wouldn't expect a secret mode in Meow's gauntlet to just suck all the carbon in the air.
Yeah,
I guess.
maybe. I have a bad theory about it.
Yo, I want to hear it.
Yeah, okay, well. So I think somewhere in Meow's character profile or something, it says something like, one of his biggest strength is that he's always observing all the people around him, and he can even shield them. Something like that. And so the bad theory is, what if Ling-Ji is not actually shielding herself that much? She's fighting with Meow, but he's secretly actually making her shield and his own.
Oh, that's kind of cool, actually.
It's kind of interesting, but it's kind of dumb. Like,
Yeah.
it seems dumb if she really wouldn't notice, but that does give away for, like, if you control Meow's gauntlet, you can suddenly make her not have a shield, and then she's like, oh, my skull, ouch.
I feel like that could be in character for Meow to do, but it would be weird if she didn't notice that was him and not her shield.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, as I said, I think of that as a bad theory, but
It's funny.
it's still interesting.
Yeah.
Worth mentioning, yeah.
Oh yeah, about bad theories. Are there any theories that you really hope are wrong? Because like a lot of your theories are like narratively compelling if they were true. But are there any theories that you're like, the evidence leads to this. I hope the story doesn't go there because that would be lame.
That's a very interesting question. The thing that jumps to mind is a mysterious scene that I don't understand. Is the Cyril killing chapter. Cyril is Rethabill's brother. I hope I'm remembering his name right.
Yeah.
And it said something like, so first his head explodes from the inside, it seems. This is all Rethabill's perspective, I think. So I'm not sure if it's trustworthy, but what happens in the scene is, first his head explodes from the inside, then a drone or helicopter or something shoots a missile at the room, and it blows up, most of it. Rethabill shields herself, of course. So like the purpose of this meeting was for Cyril to give Rethabill some kind of like evidence or like written statement that is, maybe going to implicate some secret, I don't know, bad guys, right? And supposedly by blowing up the room, the statement is destroyed, as if like it's just written on paper, or like there's only one copy of it and it's in the room, something like that. And maybe that's what's going on, but I wish it's not, because that's really dumb. If he has some interesting information, but you can just wipe it from the face of the world by blowing up one room that he's also in, like that just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, it should be, secretly encrypted all over the internet or whatever. Like you can't just, get rid of it that easily. But is Ryukishi going to think of that? I don't know. If he thinks you can just, it's like a piece of paper and it's burned now. Bye, sorry.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's where the story's going to go. I hope not, but...
Then I guess that could mean it was a story fabricated by Rethabill.
Oh no.
If like the logistics of it sound too non-narratively appealing.
Well, the weird thing to me about it is that his head explodes.
Yeah.
Which, how did they do that? Right? How did they get a thing into his head?
Well, you see, just like in Umineko, magic was the answer for everything. In Ciconia, it's 8MS. Obviously, the 8MS exploded somehow in his head.
Okay, great.
Like, I don't remember the specifics of the scene, but I just thought he like got he just got sniped with a normal gun outside the window.
So
that like Raphael couldn't notice.
So he acts like there's something in his ear. So like maybe Rethabil made that part up for some reason. But the point is, if she made that up, why? Would be my question. I don't get that. If she didn't make it up and there really is something in his head, then it implies that the people killing him, put something in his head. Like they had access to him, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so they didn't so why is Rethabil there? Like, why now? Why this, right? Why wait until this? Like they could have killed him anytime if they had a thing in his head, right? And then after that, they also blow the thing up. So there's not even any evidence of what happened. So, so it doesn't quite add up for me, but I don't really have like an overall answer.
Would he have just had something specifically planted in his head, or would everyone's like neural implants just have the ability to explode if you could?
Maybe, but it still raises the question of why at that moment.
Yeah, because if either he'd have to have a very specific thing just already implanted in his head, or the feature to just kill anyone is only used on him in the story.
That we know of. Maybe that's what really happened to Lingji.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Damn.
But isn't just half her face like exploded because of Miao's face?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure if you can explode people's heads from the inside, you can also make it so only half of it explodes.
I wouldn't be mad about that.
I guess the explosion could have a volume slider.
But also, maybe they waited like until that moment because that's when Weatherbill visited, and then like they could take out both of them. But then, if they explode the room already, like, isn't that guy already gonna die? It doesn't make much sense to me.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's something. It's fishy.
Would they have like not realized? Maybe she will have her shield on when we try to explode her.
I'm sure they would.
It's pretty hard to kill a Gauntlet Knight.
I feel like that scene, it was like less to just destroy the evidence and more just to demoralize them. Like specifically make them think that there was nothing that they can do if the opponent is one step ahead of them always.
I like that kind of reasoning.
Yeah, the opponent of Ciconia is a whole nother story. Just like, it has to be like an emissary of God or something, right? Because they are recreating like all the events from Apocalypse. But then they're also really into like technology, which is kind of weird.
Well, does anybody else have any more theories, ideas you want to throw onto the table?
Jaden is Jesus.
Well, then I would like to propose a little activity.
Okay.
What?
I feel a twist coming.
To what? An illegal activity? What?
An illegal activity. Let's do drugs. No. Let us build a Ciconia sus list.
No! Are you serious?
Yes. Like, I mean, we've been talking about theories that have involved many characters. I think it would be fitting to, like, rate them based on how sus we think they are.
Okay, maybe you'll explain this, but I'm gonna just get out in front of you and say, I object to the framing of this.
Wait, what do you mean?
What exactly are people being accused of?
Define sus.
Yeah, that's actually like that's a bugbear of mine, where people are like, oh, this character, they're suspicious, and then they kind of like implicitly conclude that they must be like working with the Three Kings or whatever. I'm like, what are they suspicious of exactly?
Okay, when I say suspicious for this tier list, I'm just saying how much information do we think they are hiding from us as the reader? Like, how much do we think there is to find out about this character? Does that make sense?
Their height, their weight.
Yeah, like let's like plot relevant things, let's say.
Yes, plot relevant.
Everyone has a complex inner life. Surely these are very well written characters. So everyone has tons of things we don't know. But plot relevant, okay. That's a reasonable discussion.
All right.
Okay.
So the tiers we have are unequivocally sus, I am onto you, hiding something but sussant, and in the clear.
You made these, didn't you, Des?
No, I didn't make it. What are you talking about?
Wow.
Okay, so first we have not Natsuhi. What are your thoughts on her?
Boring.
The same. Okay, but in terms of plot relevant mystery.
I don't think she'll be that important, honestly.
She's suspiciously incompetent.
Yeah.
That's how I would put it.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, for a gauntlet knight.
So like, why is she where she is? So maybe there's something there. I put her in like the green zone.
Yeah, I agree.
The green zone it is. I would like to name them, but I honestly don't remember most of their names. This is Rukhshana,
Wow.
right?
Oh, you're right. Yes.
Xana.
Yeah, nice. Okay,
I was
so
about to say you're not a true fan.
True.
okay, I haven't touched Ciconia ever since we put the data archive on hiatus.
Neither has Ryukishi.
Okay, I think there are some mysteries revolving around her, but I think she herself would be considered suspicious.
She just has a fun personality in my
Yeah, I feel biased. I just like her character.
Yeah.
I do too, especially because of that scene where she revolts against her leaders. I don't recall what the context was, but I remember it was really cool. So is she in the clear?
Sure.
I think so.
Okay. Now, Andre, I'm pretty sure all of us
Yeah.
would agree it's unequivocally sus because of your theory on who the moles are.
I wouldn't mind that. He is pretty suspicious.
Okay. Naima. I think Naima is in the clear.
Yeah. She's a little drug addict.
She has a lot of personalities in her. Some of them could definitely be up to something.
That's true. But that's also true for everybody else.
I don't know if I'd put her in the clear, but like because she seems like she could be like the comedic relief that ends up being more important.
Oh, Eureka.
But there's not much evidence that they are
Yeah.
suspicious right now.
Okay, so hiding something but sussant then? Or no, I guess I am onto you. Would best describe it.
Even though you're not really onto anything in particular.
I'd put her green.
Green.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the boring guy.
I don't like him.
Me neither, but I think he deserves to be here too because of the mole theory.
Yeah, and he keeps drugging a minor. Like, what?
True.
That's kind of sussy.
Well, here's his accomplice.
True.
So what do you think about that?
I don't think she's as suspicious as him, but she has her weird moments. Apparently she's like a medical genius, but she's like, I don't know.
Hey, Des, real quick, what is her name?
Angie Ushinomiya, of course.
Oh, of course.
I guess green or yellow.
Oh shit, here's hard mode.
All of them can go into the red one.
They all go in different categories.
Why?
Hard mode.
Because I think this is the one that just deletes people from her comments, right?
Yeah, that's based. Okay, but like she isn't really sus. Like I think she's like the least sus one out of all of them. Honestly.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Oh no, right. It's not she who deletes people, it's the government.
I mean, they're still all very sus because they are a Dutch feed and like.
I don't know if we can even really place them in different tiers.
And it's hard to say. They're so honest about what they are. They're not hiding anything. You know, like you know exactly what they're about.
Yeah, because we even get that scene where they break the facade a little.
It's true, but they always follow orders, even if they don't like it.
Yeah, but that's not suspicious. That's just antagonistic, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That makes them like the opposite of a wild card. Like, it doesn't even matter what they think. You know what they're gonna do.
Oh, that kind of goes along with the fact that their outfit kind of resembles Dwanor's a bit too, because Dwanor is a manifestation of rules, and if all they do is follow rules, that's kind of thematically aligned with that. So that's interesting.
That's their nuns. That's when he sees a nun. This is just like.
I want to see Umineko season 2. I want to see Dlanner freaking out in like animation.
I think that's what just like die.
Yes,
Because his name is like based on that scene.
it's true.
I mean, what aren't there animations from the pachinko machine?
Yeah, but
I think so, but I don't think it's. Do they have that scene? I don't know.
no, I don't think they do. Okay, so where are we putting the nuns?
I think they're in the clear.
Yeah, I guess so too.
Okay, so where do we put the Princess of Africa?
Maybe she's an unreliable narrator, but I don't really have proof of that. It's just like I don't know.
Still, that would count as being onto her.
I feel like she isn't hiding much directly herself, but there are like hidden information surrounding her.
You know, like I said, I don't know what to think about her.
Yeah.
Also, a thing I forgot to mention is that later on, she has a scene where it's just from her perspective, and she's thinking back on the like her brother dying incident, and like just in her own thoughts, she has no idea what happened. So also, if you read her character description, it's really weird. It's like Anyway, just go read it. And I have no idea what to say about her. That's all.
I feel like her family is sus, but she herself is not sus.
Maybe put her green because she's just such a weird character.
Okay.
Or maybe yellow, I don't know.
I'd say green.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, she's green. Now, Meow/Meow.
Red.
I should have made 2 different icons.
I guess put him in red.
Red, yeah.
He's very sussy.
Okay, now, Mr. Glasses guy. Don't ask me his name. I do not know.
Ishak.
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 They're in the clear. I have no reason to be suspicious of them.
I don't know. Isn't it suspicious how like, unsuspicious they are?
But I guess they aren't unsuspicious in the way that Naima is. They're just an NPC, basically.
Are they pretending to be an NPC?
I guess you have to see.
ACR is so hard to figure out, man.
I feel like they have like too little information and to even be like, haha, you wouldn't think I'm suspicious, but I actually am suspicious because if like they revealed something, they'd just be like, oh, I knew nothing about you, I'm not surprised. So probably blue, I guess.
Okay.
I guess blue too.
Blue it is. Now, Abdul.
But Abdul, I don't know either.
Red.
Yeah.
Red.
Why?
Wow.
No, wait.
Why?
What? Is that not what you said? Am I mishearing things?
No, wait. I said where do we put him? Like
Oh.
the blue one too, I guess.
I am sorry, Abdul. I jumped the gun. I mean, he's weird. He's described as like a diamond that had to be refined, or is being refined, right?
Is he the one that's addicted to something?
Yeah, I put him in yellow. I'm onto you.
You heard it here first. Hot take. If you never gamble, you'll never win.
True, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Yellow then?
I'd put him in green, but if you want, you could put him in yellow.
No, I'll put it in green for you. See, you saved him. You saved him from yellow.
What's the funny lesbians?
Now, the Rose Guns Days
Right.
character. I have nothing to be suspicious about.
Wow.
I put her in blue.
They're just gay for each other. It's like a literal love triangle. It's funny.
Yeah, but it's bad because they have no character about them.
Small one is a bit sus. Isn't that the one who has like the highest P3 ever or something?
I'll put her in yellow.
Ooh.
I'm yellow on her. I mean, I think she's 9 prime, but I just think that.
Oh yeah, she's the one you said was 9 prime. You're right.
Well, I said yellow though. See, I'm not
Yellow.
even. Like I said, ACR. I don't know, man.
The ECR is weird. Okay, but Mariana though, I think Mariana deserves to be in yellow because if there are witches using pieces in this
Yeah.
game, I'm pretty sure Beato is using Mariana because of the description that she's constantly having like therapy sessions with her personalities in her head.
Yellow or green, maybe, I guess. Because the whole personality thing is kind of interesting.
If that's true, what does it actually do to the story, right?
Not much. It's just funny.
Yeah, so it sounds green then, at best.
Yeah,
You're right.
You can't really tie it into anything larger than just vague meta-ness than green.
You're right.
Okay.
I agree now.
Okay, these two can go to
Oh,
red,
God.
honestly.
Valentina and
I guess the Valentina is the red one. Like,
Hey, quick question. Are they even 2 different people?
what?
Present your evidence.
Wait, is this the have you ever seen them together argument?
I mean, have we? Have you ever thought about it?
You're right. We definitely have never seen them IRL together.
Though I think there are a couple scenes, but like it's worth thinking
no,
about.
there's like one with there's one with Seshat, but like everyone has their memory wiped after.
Yeah, that
so-
doesn't count. There's
Yeah.
with Tojiro, that's questionable. But I'm pretty sure the Battle Standard Festival is in person and they show up there. So
True.
I think that's the main
Aw.
piece of evidence. That's like the only thing. So
It would have been really interesting if like Valentina was like the main body and Marikama was just like a figment of the imagination. I think that could be cool. Not like it's like a CPP, I guess, not the figment of the imagination.
Do holograms exist in Ciconia, or could you like project a person into like everyone's mind if they have neural implants?
Pretty sure you could. But
Good
like
question.
old people,
Okay.
here's the- if they exist, how many people know they exist? That's another important question, right? That's why the story's so hard.
no, but I don't think that would work for the Battle Standards Festival because we know that only the younger generation has those mental implants because it's kind of hard for older people, and older people are the main public of the Battle Standards Festival, so it would be kind of hard to fake a
Yeah.
person there.
All right. You convinced us they're two separate people.
It was a funny thought, though.
Now you have to figure out two different categories.
Oh man, making it harder.
Valentina is red, though. Like, she has a lot going on. Tojiro with everything.
She has a lot going on, but like not to the extent of these people.
Actually, what does she have going on? What does she ever do? I think Mari Carmen is the one that has more
Really?
sussing action.
Oh.
Yeah. She's the one that goes way out of her way to tell the Order of the Public Bath early about the truce that's coming up. She like goes way out of her way to do that. That's no accident. She's pulling something for someone. That's something going on there.
But I mean, Valentina is always so confident about the things she says.
Yeah.
Like, I can't give you a concrete example, but it feels like she always knows what's going on.
Yeah, but she doesn't. There's no evidence though.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I guess then is Mari Carmen going into yellow and Valentina to green?
I think that makes sense.
Now, Quero Pollo, definitely red.
Red.
All right, objection here.
Huh?
Hold up.
Okay.
What do you mean Carapoyo? Because the thing is, I mean, it's like a tool, right? It's an app. Like, everybody has their own, and it's customized. It's personalized. Maybe you think they're all like networked, but maybe they're not. So,
Or like, should we consider Carapoyo to be like just the software as a whole, or just the character?
What?
Like, is Carapoyo just the entire software of the program, or are we just considering just the mascot as an individual working within the software?
I think the whole software would
I guess
fit.
just Kiropoyo.
I guess just everything surrounding Carapoyo should be red.
Yeah.
society, man, put society in the red category.
Does just Meow's Kiropoyo have a mistress then? Like,
Oh, good
because
point.
he talks about it, right? Like,
Yeah. See, because I think so. I think that like one of them having it doesn't mean they're all like that. That's my thinking.
okay. I guess Kiropoyo in general has a lot of weird points though, like him being recognized here as the world's most talked to thing, and like you can't uninstall him for some reason. It's just kind of just why. I guess just spy on people, but like you can do that without Kiropoyo.
I'd put him in
Red.
red.
Yeah.
Zach, you agree? Because you were the one who had an objection.
It's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now, Okonogi, the man, the legend.
Oh yeah. I got a theory about this.
Okay.
Yo.
So, I don't know how much you want me to get into it. But he's sus.
Okay. Why?
I do think he's kind of sus too. There's like one thing I noticed like during the finale, where like he gets like cut off from Kiropoyo, right? Like it says Captain Okunogi has forcefully been ejected, but like the text isn't in green, and it's like the thing that like starts and ends the sentence like just ends at the very end. Like there's nothing in between that like suggests a pause. So it just seems like Okunogi just says that himself, which would be very funny but also weird.
Okunogi just goes, I'm cracking up. I can't.
Poyo, you're breaking up.
Yeah.
All right, there's this email very early in the story where they're talking about, those people must think the Gauntlet Knights are the most fascinating guinea pigs. It's the guinea pig email. And if I remain hidden here, they'll surely try to contact me. My beloved Lady Gestress, by the way, is how it opens. So who sent that? I think it was Okunogi. Red category.
I mean, okay, that's like the scene itself is suspicious, not Okonogi himself. Like that's just who we are attributing the scene to, right? Like the suspicion isn't on Okonogi, it's on the scene, because we don't know who actually is saying those things in the scene.
Well, I thought this was all based on our interpretation of things.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, okay, red it is.
All right.
Motherfucker.
This guy's in the clear. He's cool. He's with me. It's cool. Don't worry about it.
What if we just put him in blue?
Okay.
He's like the most sus motherfucker alive.
Okay.
Well, he needs his own category. Like you can't put Tojiro in any of these categories. There needs to be a Tojiro tier.
The man himself.
Yeah, there we go.
True.
Okay, Jaden. I think he's in the clear.
That's the ending scene.
I don't know.
The thing I would say about him, the only way he's not in the clear, it's like he's so stupid that it's actually suspicious.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'd put him in green or yellow.
At most put him in green, honestly, but this is only because of the like angel scene, because that's kind of...
Okay, but green is like there's something surrounding them, but it isn't necessarily something that important. And then yellow is like there's something about them that should be very important.
I don't know. I don't like this man.
Because like yes, we see Jaden at the end in heaven, but like
Everyone's there. All the good people.
yeah, like it doesn't feel like something that Jaden spearheaded. It just feels like something Jaden ended up in.
Is everyone there? We just see him, don't we?
We just see him, but like it doesn't feel like Jaden actively tried to get there. It feels like he just ended up there.
I don't know.
Every time we talk about heaven, it's either like, oh, Meow is the one trying to reach heaven. Like we never say, oh, Jaden is the one trying to reach heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Ishak. It's like this. The only suspicious thing about him is how not suspicious he is.
Yeah, okay.
So based on that, same tier as Ishak, blue.
Okay,
True, I agree.
now Dreisig.
Oh boy.
She's the funny one.
Very sus. Red. Sesha 2, I guess. Right? Like,
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot about her.
and Dreisig 2, I'd
Oh
say.
god.
What a combo.
Oh my, they can all
It's
just
like
go
all
into
these
red.
characters need their own tiers.
Gunhill can go into red too, like, goddamn.
Yeah.
Well, now Chloe.
We put Chloe in yellow.
Chloe's like, she has a weird scene where she just fucking kills Lilja at the end, and like, she does the weird smiley thingies. I don't like her.
Yeah. Like, Chloe is weird, but she's not as weird as some of the individuals we got going on here.
Yeah, I would put her in yellow too.
Okay, here's the big like question point. And by the way, this comes from somebody else, not me. I didn't think about this. But here's an example of some of stealing. I think the big question is Chloe? She's kind of helping Koshka out, right? By like subduing Lilia. And so the question is she doing that just because of like sympathy for just Koshka's situation, or is it because Koshka's the Pandora and Chloe knows like some important thing about that? So is it just like a person-to-person thing, or is it like a grand scheme thing? And that determines whether she is yellow or green.
Well, Chloe also has that whole thing going on with the training. Maybe yellow, because it doesn't feel like she's in the upper echelon of whatever's going on there.
I guess I agree.
Okay, now Koshka.
I think I'd put her in yellow because she is very mysterious, but she seemed more like a victim of circumstance.
Yeah, it's like she doesn't plan things herself. It's just like everyone else has just plans for her.
Yeah. But what is this about rebelling and throwing away her horrible body to rebel against those adults?
Yeah,
That's what she says. What's that about?
Yeah.
Like that whole scene just basically confirms that Koshka has to know something that we don't.
Yeah.
So I'd say red.
Whoa,
guess
damn.
Well, okay.
Guilty, Your Honor.
Because
Life in
like Koshka's mysteries, at least they feel like they are the key to solving Ciconia. So that's why I'm saying red.
Yeah.
She's the biggest mystery.
I guess, yeah.
I guess.
It's just that the theories are like surrounding her. It's not like she's doing anything suspicious. It's just like,
Look, she doesn't even have a face. She could look like any of these other characters and we wouldn't know it.
Koshka is everyone.
I'm not even kidding. I'm like at least 50% serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we do know that Koshka is like rebuilt. Like they have spare craniums for her, spare skulls.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me. How did they know that it's Vir Dreisig's remains? Because she's burnt, right? So they only have the bones. But we've already established in the story that you can just make bones out of that look like someone specific. Anyway, in conclusion, Koshka is Vir. Put her in there.
Okay.
Also, I guess I have a thought about the throwing her body away thing. Like, maybe it just means trying to kill herself because, like, she's like the key to the new world. Like how everyone says that, and like how she's so important. But if she kills herself, then she can't be used for that anymore, right? Maybe it's already hard for her to kill herself because like they already found out that she can like still be conscious with the zombie Amos. So like she tries everything to kill herself, but nothing works.
That's a possibility.
Very interesting. A fresh new direction.
Okay, now Vilja, the current record holder of the swiftest triple kill in AOU Finland.
A lot of her is just like kind of told to us directly. It's a little like the combat nun situation. But what is the clay girl about? That is kind of weird. Her like
Yeah, the clay
super
girl.
secret power.
I feel like there is still something sus about her, but we already like do know a lot. That'd be yellow or green.
Let's go green.
Okay,
Okay.
green it is. Now, Wingji, I'd say blue.
I mean, she's dead.
All of them
Yeah.
are. What do you mean? Like
The
most
culprits cannot be murdered, right?
True.
Those were the rules. So therefore,
In purple text.
There's just like the ending thing where just her shield just stops, but like other than that,
it's all about the golden gauntlet, I guess.
yeah, the golden
You know,
gauntlet too.
you gotta make up your mind about that, and that really determines what tier you put her in.
Ah, you're right.
Do we know if Nox's rules apply to Ciconia?
Of course not. It's not.
How the fuck would that work? Name one murder in Ciconia.
I'd say green.
Yeah, I guess green too, just because of the gauntlet.
Okay.
There has to be something going on there.
No, Momotake.
Momotake can go in blue. That motherfucker is so boring. He has nothing going for him.
You don't think he belongs in the man himself tier,
No, as far away from it as possible.
which happens to be right next to it?
Yeah, as far away from it as possible.
Oh yeah.
No,
No,
Aisha. We know she's kinda like she hates everything and stuff, but like I don't know. Maybe she's
Relatable.
a bit sus.
Aisha gives me Kumasawa vibes in the sense that she's always so giggly that she's like too confident, like she knows what's going on behind the scenes.
I don't know. It's more like she's just trying not to fucking get into like poverty again.
I think it's another Sujatha situation where the suspicious thing is how incompetent she is. 'Cause she has like only one skill in her character profile. She's like terrible at everything except this one thing. But you know, it's like almost somebody pulled strings to just make sure she gets into a like an important position. But I don't know if that means anything. So
I guess I'll put her green maybe.
Okay.
I guess she could be green.
Well, there you have our Kikone sus list. Anyway, I'd say we're done. Does anybody else have anything they want to say before we close the episode?
I really like the theory that like Mia was born from just his father. This is like a reverse Virgin Mary, which is like
what if Tojiro is a virgin? Actually,
yeah.
Yay.
think about that.
It would be the Virgin Mark.
I could see him as like this abstaining Chad. Sorry, I'm not enough of a loser to have sex.
I don't know. He seems pretty aroused by the second secretaries.
No, he hates
He
them.
even asks, "Quero pollo."
I wouldn't be like that surprised if his entire like lecture persona, it's all set up so he can like convincingly do the thing in the explosion incident where he like gets behind whoever, right?
Yeah.
Like just to justify that one thing, his whole personality was like made up. I would be surprised, but like not that surprised, honestly.
That would be so funny, but so good.
Wait, how does that tie into it?
Like because he's like staring at someone's like panties, right? And that's how he like gets to survive the whole explosion thing.
Yeah.
Because he's like behind her. And, like, he
And to
gets killed.
justify that, because he saw it coming, you know, decades ahead of time.
Wow, yeah.
As you can tell, I have infinite theories I could talk about, but you know,
Yeah.
at some point you gotta say, okay, that's good for now.
Yeah, I'd be up for like maybe another episode where we just talk more theories.
All right then. I think this was a nice episode. We like discussed a lot of things that I wasn't expecting us to discuss. We have like 2 hours of episode, which is a lot. So yeah. Thank you for coming, Zach.
Thanks for having me.
We hope you enjoyed the episode. See ya.
Bye bye.
Aloha.